Welcome to the Kenya Wantamnotam Movement, or KWM, podcast. Today, we're going to dive deep into this really significant grassroots initiative. We'll break down its mission, how it diagnoses the nation's challenges, and the path it proposes for the future, all based on materials straight from their own platform.
Right out of the gate, the movement's core message is impossible to miss. This isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's framed as a direct notice to current/all future presidents, cabinet, parliament, county leaders. It immediately sets a powerful stage for a movement that is all about direct, voter-led accountability.
So to really get a handle on what the KWM is all about, we're going to walk through their perspective step by step. We'll kick things off with their fundamental call to action, then we'll look at the problems they've identified, dig into their historical analysis, check out their proposed solutions, and finally, break down the actual digital platform they've built to make it all happen. So what's the big idea here? Well, the central pillar of the KWM's message really boils down to one powerful concept: accountable leadership enforced by the people themselves. Okay, so this right here is the bedrock of the whole movement. Their argument is that the time for waiting for change to come from the top down is just over. After 5 decades, they believe the real power to transform the country doesn't lie in the existing political structures, but with citizens who are mobilized and united. So what exactly are the issues they're calling on people to tackle? And this isn't just some vague call for change, The movement provides a very specific diagnosis of what it believes are the nation's biggest challenges. The KWM frames its mission around what they call the 4 fights. And these aren't just policy points. They're presented as fundamental battles that absolutely need to be won. First, you've got the fight against impunity, which ties right back to that demand for accountable leaders. Second, the fight against poverty, which is all about the economy. Third, the fight against ignorance, focusing on education. And fourth, the fight against disease, tackling health and wellness. These 4 pillars, they're the foundation of their entire agenda for a new Kenya. And check out this headline from their platform. It frames the issue not just as a few separate problems, but as a massive systemic crisis of inequality. They're arguing that it touches every single part of society, from what people earn to their health, and even the role of major institutions like the church and the state. It's a really stark diagnosis that's meant to create a sense of urgency. What this does is it points a finger directly at what they see as a total disconnect between the government and the people. Headlines like this, which are featured right on their site, are used to make the case that the current leadership just isn't seen as a credible force for solving these deep-seated problems. This loss of faith, they argue, is exactly why citizen-led action isn't just a nice idea, it's an absolute necessity. Okay, so you have to ask, right? How did things get to this point? To really understand the roots of these issues today, the KWM argues that you have to take a hard, unflinching look at the nation's history, starting right from independence. Now, this slide is really fascinating because of the contrast it draws. It pits the original promise of independence against what the KCWM calls the reality that followed. On one side, you have that clear original mission, a vision that was about fighting disease and building a strong nation. But on the other side, they present this story of failure, using their own article titles to make the point that Kenya lost the plot, had a rotten start, and witnessed the rise of an empire of looters. And this timeline, which is literally built from their own article headlines, lays out a very clear historical argument. It starts in 1963, a moment full of promise. But right after that, it points to what they see as a critical failure in leadership, and then it traces a direct line from that rotten start all the way to what they call the empire of looters today. It's a narrative that suggests the mission was derailed almost from the get-go. But it's not all just a critical look at the past. The movement also makes a point to highlight a totally different legacy. They call on people to remember Kenyan heroes, figures like Field Marshal Mariama, who they mention in their articles, who represent the integrity and vision they believe should be the nation's true north. It's their way of saying that the history of failure isn't the only history that counts. Okay, so you've got this diagnosis of the present, this take on the past. So what's the plan? What's the way forward? How do you actually reboot a system that they argue has been failing for decades? Well, their solution is really built on 3 core ideas. First, unity. The idea that Kenyans have to work together as one team, because division just helps maintain the status quo. Second, and this is maybe the most crucial point, a collective shift in mentality. This is all about changing how people see their own power and their role in society. And third, urgency. The time to act is right now.
because waiting for leaders to hand down solutions has, in their view, been a failed strategy.
And this chart really visualizes their core belief perfectly. The path of just waiting for leaders, they say that has low impact. The real high-impact path to meaningful change, according to the KWM, is citizen-led collective action. The key takeaway here is that their proposed solution isn't about backing some new candidate or political party. It's about a fundamental rewiring of the entire relationship between the citizens and the state. And this is where the strategy gets real, where it becomes tangible. They argue that for collective action to actually work, you need a central hub, a place to organize. So at the heart of their strategy is a digital platform designed to fuel this grassroots movement. You can go check it out at www.wantamnotam.com and create your account. All 47 counties are listed right there. You can identify your county and start posting and sharing your ideas that can help change your village, your city, and the nation. So how does this platform actually work? I mean, how do you take these big ideas about a mental shift and collective action and turn them into something practical on a website? Well, the platform is called Village Action Online, and that name is really significant. It signals a clear focus on empowering change from the most local level, the village, and then connecting it upwards to become a national force. It's all about decentralizing the conversation and building a powerful movement from the ground up. So here's how it works, basically. The whole platform is structured around Kenya's 47 counties. So you can go on, find your specific county forum, and immediately connect with people right in your local area. From there, the main thing is posting and sharing ideas, proposing real, tangible solutions for your village, your city, and for the country as a whole. The big idea is to take all of these local conversations and weave them together into one unified, powerful, collective national voice that can demand and create actual change. And see, this brings us full circle, right back to the central idea of the entire movement. The platform, the county forums, the sharing of ideas, it's all designed to make this one thing happen, a collective shift in mentality. It's this core belief that when people stop seeing themselves as passive bystanders and start acting as engaged, empowered citizens, that is the moment a new Kenya becomes possible. So if this vision for a citizen-powered future for Kenya is something that speaks to you, this is the movement's direct invitation. They're asking you to visit their website at www.wantamnotam.com. From there, the steps are really clear. Create an account, find your specific county forum from the 47 that are listed, and become an active part of the conversation by posting and sharing your ideas for how to change your village, your city, and your nation. And that's really the question the movement leaves us all with. It's a powerful final thought that sums up their entire philosophy. They've laid out their case that the political system has failed and that the only real path forward is for the people themselves to change their own mindset and take power into their own hands. Whether that collective shift is truly the key, well, that's the question they're putting to every single Kenyan. Thank you for listening to the Kenya Wantamnotam Movement KWMM podcast.